welcome to day 2 of cooking. Today we will be making a traditional Andean cake.
There are 2 videos for this recipe. This one is for a full loaf of the cake and is made in the oven and is a bit more time consuming and challenging. The Andes Mountains are located along the western coasts of South America and include countries like Peru and Ecuador. Traditional Andean cuisine often includes ingredients like potatoes, hueco, arracacha, field mustard, field flowers, and quinoa, like this recipe, which calls for quinoa flour. People in the Andes Mountains have to deal with high altitudes and low pressure when cooking.
Before we get started, make sure that you wash your hands, tie your hair back if you have long hair, and put on an apron. Now, let's get our ingredients.
For 1 loaf, you will need 1½ cups of wheat flour, 1 cup of quinoa flour or white flour, 1/2 cup of cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 5 eggs, 1½ cups of sugar, 1 orange, 1 cup of butter, 1¼ cup of milk, and some raisins. You will also need 3 bowls, an electric mixer, but a whisk and some muscle can work too, a tall loaf pan, and a grater. To start, add the butter and the sugar into your largest bowl. Also add the 5 egg yolks. To separate the egg yolks from the egg whites, crack the eggs into your smallest bowl and let the whites drip out of the shell. Then, transfer the egg yolk back into the big bowl. Mix the butter, sugar, and egg yolks in the biggest bowl until thoroughly combined. Set the bowl aside and replace it with your medium bowl. Now we will add the dry ingredients together. Combine both flours, the baking powder, and the cornstarch. Next, we will be adding the orange zest. Grate the orange, being very careful that you don't grate your fingers. Once you have added as much zest as possible, just combine all of the dry ingredients and the orange zest in the bowl. Set this bowl aside and bring back your butter, sugar, and egg yolk mixture. Next, we will be adding the milk and orange juice. Start with half of your milk and combine it with your mixture. Then add juice from half of the orange. If you have a juicer, this will be much easier, but otherwise we're just squeezing as much juice as possible out of the orange. And mix that in until combined. Then repeat, adding the other half of the milk, stirring it in, adding the other half of the orange, and mixing that in. Next, remove your large bowl and replace it with your small bowl with the egg whites. Then whisk your egg whites until they can form soft peaks. Now it's time to add everything together. Bring back your wet mixture and add in your dry ingredients. Next, gently fold in your whipped egg whites. Now pour all of your batter into your greased tin. Before putting it in the oven, sprinkle a handful of raisins all around the top of the loaf. Carefully put your cake in the oven or have a parent help you. We'll be baking it at 350 degrees for around 55 minutes or until a toothpick can come out clean. Your cake should be a nice golden color like you can see here, and able to cut into slices to share with your family. We would love to see pictures of your finished cakes, so add them to the Padlet.
I hope you had a fun time today making and eating some delicious cake. Join us again tomorrow for day 3 of cooking.